Welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of my Yellowstone trip video. If you've watched part 1, thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. So with this part 2 video, we're going to explore further into Yellowstone Park and even get to the Grand Teton National Park as well, and that'll be towards the end of the video. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's have some fun. Day 3 started bright and early as we headed down south from Montana, same as usual, but this time we were going way further south to accomplish the southern loop of Yellowstone National Park. Our first stop put us at the Artist Paint Pots. A short walk, about a mile in total, led us to a beautiful hillside surrounded by pine trees with some small geysers that were quite unique. They were unique in color and they were unique in shape. This was my first photo of the day, and honestly I love it. I believe this shot was taken on Ektar 100, which I believe lended to the, saturated colors, lots of greens that were popping out with a mixture of yellows as well. I was very much happy with this shot.
That kind of water is getting heated up from the last one. It has some, volcanism is definitely, it is a pretty big volcanic gas, but it exists naturally in a lot of minerals as well. Okay. Like dangerous.
Ready?
Ready, 1, 2.
After the Artist Paint Pots, we decided to keep driving south until I found a detour. I found actually a side road that led us on a bit of a scenic drive, and we actually found a nice waterfall, which had been a nice feature for us to see, as this was the first waterfall that we found in Yellowstone National Park. Now, as we stopped, I was obviously taking photographs, but some of us had some other ambitious goals.
Nice. Oh, dude, maybe some hands.
They're not necessary.
Yeah. Okay, so.
Dude, do you remember? You remember that guy? When you did it, you're like, look, no feet.
The small detour actually led us right back onto the main road that opened up to a vast, flat piece of grassland that was too beautiful not to stop and enjoy the sun. While we were here, I kept thinking about how wild the stories used to recall that the American buffalo used to be seen in unending droves and would dominate the land. I envisioned vast herds in the thousands parked here to feed and move through this land, and the fact that they feel so rare here in their own home nonetheless is quite a morbid reality to sit with. To some extent, I feel like we have been robbed of that, considering they were hunted primarily to starve the local Native Americans, but we won't touch that on this video. After this short stop, we decided to continue forward. We were planning on going to the Grand Prismatic Geyser, which is probably the prettiest geyser in all of Yellowstone, according to photos and popular reviews. However, we didn't quite know where the entrance was, plus there were so many cars that we decided to come back to it on our way out from the park. So towards the end of day 3, we decided to go back, and you'll see that shortly. Instead, a little further down the road was another set of geysers that were very pretty, and one that was a little angry that day. I decided not to take any photos, or not too many photos, because there wasn't too much I was interested in, and I knew we were headed to Old Faithful next. We arrived early to Old Faithful, and we all decided to take bets on when it was going to erupt. Now, according to online, it was given a specific time or an estimated time that it was going to erupt, because again, it is Old Faithful, but no one won this bet. In fact, I believe I was the closest, but I think I was still off by like 7 minutes. After half an hour or more, I learned that Old Faithful is just a cruel bitch that loves to edge you so hard into thinking it's coming. But in fact, she is pretty faithful, and you love her for it. And you know what? It was worth the wait, in my opinion. Oh.
I like how you didn't even put your camera. Oh. Whoa, dude.
Crazy.
It might seem like just water squirting out of the earth, but if you really know your geology, Yellowstone is basically a huge underground volcano that is predicted to one day destroy about half the world, or at least end North America, or at least give it a facelift. So when you sit on these benches watching this hot stream of sulfuric water pissing out of a hole in the ground, be a little grateful you're witnessing such tender beauty. Old Faithful, ye old bitch. After our date with a hole in the ground, we were tired. It was getting late and we had an even longer drive to get back to our Airbnb. But we still had the giant prismatic geyser. We hiked while thunder and lightning formed to the north and droplets of rain began to kamikaze down from the heavens, trying to take me and my 50-year-old cameras out. But I wasn't gonna let it happen so easily. We made it to an overlook of the Grand Prismatic, and it was a very pretty sight. There is something riveting about watching the steam roll off a multicolored geyser while a storm forms in front of your pathway back home. In some weird way, it makes you feel alive. It was getting cold, it was getting wet, and we needed to get home before the storm hit hard. Possibly the greatest part of the entire trip unfolded in the next hour. The most exquisite sunset and rainbow I was blessed to have witnessed with my own eyes. This is a moment that I will forever remember. It was something I had never seen before in a place I'd never been before. And again, to sum up this entire trip, it literally was just magic. It literally was just magic. I felt a swelling knot in my chest at just the raw beauty of nature's paintbrush. But it was also more profound that in order for this beauty to have been achieved, there was a thunderstorm that had to precede it. It's a keen reminder that every day and everyone has thunderstorms that they must endure to see the beauty of the other side. That, in my opinion, is divine. Day 4. Me and the boys decided to stay active on our rest day and go for a nearby waterfall hike that was only about a 15-minute drive or so from our Airbnb in Montana. We started fairly early in the day and found a turnout that overlooked the entire valley which we were staying in. Now, again, Montana is often called Big Sky Country, and when you're at a place where you're able to overlook a valley and see just how vast and open it is, it's quite stunning. It actually hurt my eyes because I felt like the distances were so far away that my eyes just could not focus on really anything because I've never seen distances so vast before. So that was something very new that I was just completely unaware of. Aside from that, it was absolutely gorgeous. Like some of the photos that I took, they're not the greatest photos because it just doesn't express properly how big and beautiful this place is. So take that for what it is. Once we found ourselves on the trail, it was really nice to move our bodies and be outside. We eventually found a waterfall at the end of the trail, and yes, I did dunk my head in because I was doing cold plunges before it was popular. And I stand by that, and I will die on that hill.
I'm just fixing my socks. I just slid you down this way. You got grizzlies out here, huh? Oh, they're on. Yeah, maybe you should put it.
Once done with the hike, we were met with yet another surprise, a Highland cow. Probably the cutest of all the cow species. We spent most of the day relaxing and catching up on much needed rest, but again, we were in Montana. We couldn't let the sunsets go to waste, so we made a move to the same area we hiked that very morning, and we watched a gorgeous sunset fleeing over the mountains, another way to end a beautiful day in paradise. Day 5, our last day on our trip before having to leave. We were going for the most ambitious expedition that we have embarked upon to date. 4 a.m. start time to get to the Grand Teton National Park and back for our 5th and final day. Steam clouds condensing to a thick fog and then driving through them was more than an ethereal experience. Watching the sunrise from the east while the moon still blanketed the west made for a moody setting for this grand adventure. Sleep deprivation quickly dissipated as awe, wonder, and silence all filled the cup of my heart and tincture of my soul. There is always something to learn in the vast wells of your thoughts, and silent mindfulness is my way of retrieving those moments to ruminate and process what it is I am actually experiencing. It was truly a wonder to feel present and to feel at home in a place so unfamiliar. The mountains have always called to me, and this is what happens when I listen. I feel in today's world it's very easy to get caught up in the motions of life and feel adrift as the current sweeps you up. But if you're able to ground yourself enough and be aware, you might realize that you can experience a lot of new things on a daily basis. But I'm just some guy on YouTube. Since we only had one day in Grand Teton National Park, we decided on going to Jenny Lake to ferry across to the base of the Tetons and start hiking. Fair? I wanted to see as much wildlife as possible while here, and we actually saw a moose, and yes, they are freaking huge. We ended up hiking pretty far up before turning around and walking around the entire lake back to the cars. After an exhausting hike and tired from the morning, we decided to hang out in Jackson, Wyoming, the small town just outside the national park. We didn't have a ton of time to spend here, so we were only there for a few hours before heading back home. And of course, if this trip taught me anything, it's that the best things will happen at the end of the day. We finally saw a herd of bison roaming the plains. Unfortunately, I only got one good photo with the new telephoto lens that I use, and this was it. So let's admire it because it's all I got. And this summed up the entirety of my Yellowstone trip. So once again, if you guys made it this far, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed this. I kind of wanted to make this a bit of obviously an adventure and display and show my photography skills. But use this as a bit of a itinerary, right? Things to see, popular places to go while you're in Yellowstone or in the Grand Tetons. Obviously, it's not an exhaustive list. We did do quite a bit, but there's always more that you can do while you're there. But hopefully this is a good starting point if you do plan on visiting these places. So without further ado, I really appreciate it. Thanks for your time, you guys. If you enjoyed part 2 of this video, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Other than that, take care. Have a great rest of your day. Stay blessed.